All right, we're going to try to do both output and input on the same video at one time. Okay, so I had to make it kind of wonky to look at to make it big enough for you to see the whole board. But right here will be our input question. Okay, so this is United States and Canada, and the number of hours to produce 1 unit of hats or shoes, which means you want to make 1 unit in as little time as possible. So the lower number is better. And you can see America takes 2 hours to make hats and Canada takes 3 hours to make hats, whereas it takes America 4 hours to make shoes and 5 hours for Canada, which means America has an absolute advantage in both of them because they can make them faster using fewer resources. The resource in this would be hours. So in input questions, we go in, right? So in this case, it would be 1 to 2/4 or 1/2 of a shoe. The resources that go into making shoes for every single hat that you could make, because you can make hats twice as fast. So you give up half of the resources to shoes to make half the resources of shoes to make 1 hat, and this is 3/5, which is 0.6. Right, shoes per hat. We're always measuring our hats in what we're giving up. And so this is 0.5, this is 0.6. So America is giving up only half of a shoe to make a hat, whereas Canada is giving up more than the reciprocal. So America is giving up the least, so they'll do hats. So here, Canada, we do the reciprocal. So this case would be, we can make 2 hats every time we could make 1 pair of shoes, right? Because we're making hats twice as fast, 2 hours instead of 4. And this would be 5/3 or 1.67 hats per shoe. We're again looking at the lowest opportunity cost, so 1.67. Canada's giving up fewer shoes to make hats, so Canada will focus on making shoes. They'll specialize in shoes. And America will specialize in hats because they're giving up the least amount to do that. That is an input question, and it's used when you are measuring what is the resources that go into making something. And again, you want to have the lowest amount of resources. Here's an output question. Again, America and Canada. Again, hats and shoes. This time 10, 15. So we can make this is output per 1 hour. So we want to produce the most we can in 1 hour. So America is making 10 hats and 15 shoes. Canada's making 5 hats and 10 shoes. So America has the absolute advantage in making both again because they can make more. The output is wanting to have the most. So on this one, see here on the input we come in. On the output you go out. And again, for many of you, you can sort of look at this and tell. But if you want to be able to sort of measure it, again, this would be for America. This would be 10/15 or 2/3 of a shoe for every hat that we produce. And this for Canada would be 5/10 or 1/2 of a shoe for every hat. And you can see that 1/2 is smaller than 2/3. So Canada in this case is giving up the least amount of shoes to make a hat. So they'll produce hats. And then the reciprocal is true, that this would be 15/10 or 1.5 hats per every shoe, and this would be 10/5 or 2 hats per shoe. So you can see America is giving up less of a hat to make shoes, so America will specialize in making shoes, and Canada will specialize in making hats. And that would be an example of both an output and an input question.